Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Today on the Young and the Restless, Mariah checks her mom's meds. Faith sets Lucy straight and Sharon dreams of kissing Nick. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At Crimson Lights, Mariah tells Nick that checking Sharon's meds feels wrong. He stresses that they can't help unless they get answers. Mariah asks if he knows where she was headed when she left. Nick doesn't. Mariah will have to be quick then. She hopes they're wrong and she's back on her meds. Mariah exits and Phyllis walks in. She tells Nick his ex-wife is out of control. Phyllis runs down the scene with Sharon in the club. She protected her family, but kept her cool because she knows Sharon has issues right now. Nick's glad she didn't go full Phyllis on her. Phyllis insists something needs to be done about Sharon. At Daniel's place, he looks at something on a phone and calls, "Lucy, can you get out here please?" She eventually surfaces and he tells her they need to talk. "I need to see your phone." Lucy hands it over. Daniel checks it and asks, "Airplane mode." "Really?" They installed the tracking app on her phone for a reason. He switches it back and warns her not to change it again. Lucy asks, "Where's Mom?" She's consulting with a colleague about a case that could lead to a job. He needs to go out too and asks Lucy for confirmation that she'll stay put. Lucy sits down with a huff. Daniel will take that as a yes and tells her to finish her letter to Faith. "I'll be back soon." Once he's gone, Lucy phones Faith. She pleads with her not to hang up. Things have gotten so weird. They have to talk before they get even worse. Faith, in the park, says she's not sure what else there is to say. Not seeing each other might be for the best. Lucy argues that it's not. She made a mistake, but nothing bad actually happened. Faith stresses that things could have been a lot worse. They were incredibly lucky. Lucy counters that they're oak. She wants to meet without their parents and promises it will be the last favor she ever asks. Faith arrives at Daniel's place and tells Lucy she can only stay a minute. Lucy's glad she came. Faith learns she's still grounded and says their parents do it to help them sort things out. She guesses calling her there is against the rules. Lucy complains that her parents are treating her like some kind of criminal. She lists off her punishments and rants that she'll have no life, and it's still not enough for your mom. She tells Faith her mother is obsessing and making things even more horrible. Maria arrives at Sharon's and calls out, "Mom, are you here?" She gets no response, so sets about searching for the meds. As she's walking across the living room, Sharon comes in and asks, "What are you doing here?" Mariah claims she was there to borrow a necklace from Faith. Sharon recalls she was on her way to the office. Mariah took an early lunch. She asks, "How are you, Mom?" Sharon snaps that she'll be better when she gets a cup of tea. Mariah waits until she's in the kitchen and then checks her purse. She finds a bottle of ibuprofen. Sharon reappears in the living room and apologizes about giving Mariah the 3rd degree earlier. Mariah says she seems on edge. Sharon complains she was accosted by that brat Lucy at the coffee house and then ran into Phyllis and Heather. She can't get away from that family and their excuses. It almost cost Faith her life. Mariah says Faith is fine. She offers to stay and talk. Sharon needs a nap and wants Mariah to go take care of the company. Mariah grabs her keys and spots a teddy bear on the chair. Sharon says it's Faith's. It was a gift. Mariah exits and Sharon walks over and sets the bear on a table before getting on the sofa with a blanket and closing her eyes. Cameron appears. Nicely done. Sharon thought so. She knows how big the threat to her family is. Cameron joins her on the sofa and tells her she's so close to getting the peace and closure that's eluded her for years. An end to her pain and confusion, and the beginning of the life she deserves, the life you never should have lost. You will be home again. Home for your family and home for Nick. Sharon closes her eyes. At Crimson Lights, Nick assures Phyllis they're getting Sharon sorted out. She doesn't need to be worried about it. Phyllis has to worry about it because she's coming after her family. Nick admits he was there when Sharon came for Lucy. Daniel tried to step in, but Lucy got upset and took off, so he followed her out. Phyllis says Lucy's a young girl. Nick agrees that Sharon crossed the line, and he talked to her. Phyllis thinks this is beyond the talking phase. It really is. I think you should consider checking her into Fairview. Nick wants Phyllis to try and understand that this crash stirred up things for Sharon about Cassie. Phyllis says it feels like she hasn't been able to move on. It's not right that she keeps attacking her son and his family. Nick knows that. They're trying to sort out her medications. Phyllis thinks that should have been done by now. And this goes beyond a problem with medication. Quite frankly, I think she's dangerous. Nick protests. Phyllis, come on. Phyllis insists that the way she was talking to her was not like the Sharon she knows. There was venom. It was scary, and I don't scare easily. She's attacking my son. I don't like it. If he doesn't do something about it, she will. With that, she stalks out the door. At Daniel's place, Lucy tells Faith about her run-in with her mother in Crimson Lights. She told her she's desperate and needy, and she doesn't want to be her friend. It was totally humiliating. Faith is sorry she's upset, but there's no point in her talking to her mom. She's not wrong. She's upset about what happened, or what could have happened. Lucy thinks she needs to let go. Faith replies, "Actually, you are the one who needs to let go." Lucy insists she's letting go of the accident. Faith counters that what she needs to let go of is them being friends. Lucy insists they have a real connection. Faith thinks they gave it a chance and brings up her drinking. It's not healthy. Lucy asks if that's an excuse. Faith is concerned. She wants her to be happy and suggests she should talk to a professional. Lucy gulps. Why is everyone making this into so much more than it is? Faith knows from experience how serious this could have been. She needs help to figure this out. Lucy thinks Sharon has gotten to her. Faith says, "This is all me, Lucy." Lucy tells her to go. Her real friends are probably waiting on her. Faith grabs her purse and tells Lucy she'll get through this. She'll find friends her own age. Promise me you won't hit up your parents' liquor cabinet because you're upset, ok? Phyllis meets up with Summer at the club and complains that Sharon publicly humiliated Lucy. Who does that? She's so out of control. That little event was just more of the same. Summer gets why Sharon's upset. Phyllis does too, but Lucy is being punished for that. Sharon doesn't need to make scenes all over town. Summer learns about the scene in the club earlier involving her and Heather. Phyllis says if Sharon comes for her family, she'll have consequences to deal with. Sharon is out of control, and no one knows better than they do how extreme Sharon can get. Summer says that when Sharon switched her DNA test, she was suffering from bipolar disorder. She's been diagnosed and is taking medication now. Phyllis says she's not very balanced out right now. Daniel arrives and tells his mother she needs to stay away from Sharon. Phyllis begins. "Oh no." Daniel interrupts. "Don't oh no me. This is not your fight." At Sharon's place, she dreams of Nick leaning over and kissing her awake as she naps. He tells her she looks beautiful and peaceful. I couldn't resist. Sharon sits up and they start making out. They stop and Nick says the old spark is still there. "We still got it, baby." He wants to take her upstairs and prove it, but they have to get a move on, or they'll be late. "I was hoping you would be ready by now instead of lazing around, and I was sure Cassie would be here." Sharon says, "You mean Maria?" Cassie appears at the door and says, "No, Mom. He means me." Sharon gushes that Cassie is all grown up. Cassie says she has been for a while now. Sharon wants to know everything about her. Cassie says she's a vet and dating Nick's favorite minor league baseball pitcher. She refers to Sharon and Nick being married for a zillion years in a fairy tale marriage. Sharon looks at the ring on her finger. Cassie tells her they have to get ready for the concert at the Romolotti, the Daniel Romolotti Memorial Pavilion. At Crimson Lights, Nick asks Faith if she's having headaches or anything. She rolls her eyes and says, "Only Lucy." She tells him she spoke to her and made it clear they'll never be friends the way she'd like. She also suggested she speak to a professional about her drinking and issues. Nick feels she did the right thing. They get to talking about Sharon. They're both very worried about her. Phyllis complains that Sharon accosted her and Heather right there. Daniel says she could have walked away. That's exactly what she needs to do from now on. Phyllis is never not going to protect her family. Daniel appreciates this, but they need to figure this out before it gets more out of hand. Me, Lucy, and Heather. He's begging Phyllis to sit this one out. He has to go to a job interview, and Summer assures him everything will turn around. He leaves and Summer asks if her mother will actually back off. Phyllis says Daniel's not seeing things straight and can't see the situation as clearly as she can. Summer suggests she could try and find a job too. Phyllis asks what's going on with her, Summer has good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? Phyllis wants the good news. Summer tells Phyllis that she and Kyle ironed out a custody deal. Phyllis says that's great news, and does she even want to hear the bad news? Summer says Chance quit Abbott Chancellor. Phyllis is surprised. Summer explains he didn't like working with Billy, who was on a power trip, and fired Lily. Phyllis muses, "Well, I wonder what's going to happen to Abbott Chancellor now." At Crimson Lights, Faith and Nick discuss Sharon going off on Lucy. She's convinced she's protecting Faith. Faith muses, like she couldn't protect Cassie. Nick hopes Maria will get some answers. Just then, she walks in. They tell Faith they think Sharon may be off her meds. Maria found them in her medicine cabinet and said she's being honest. She's taking her meds. Nick still feels something is not right with the way she's reacting to Lucy and Daniel and the nightmares about Cameron. They all agree she seems exhausted a lot of the time. Nick questions if the new meds are the problem. Maria points out it can take weeks for them to kick in. Nick says they don't have weeks to figure this out. At Sharon's place, she's still dreaming. Nick and Cassie tell her about Daniel dying tragically after drinking at a party. Sharon finds this sad, but is just glad Cassie's okay. Suddenly, Nick and Cassie disappear. Sharon screams for them to come back. Snapping awake, Sharon tells Cameron, who is sitting on the sofa, about her dream. Cameron says it was a lie. Sharon asks, "How did you know?" Cameron says, "I'm you. I feel everything you feel." He's just a little more honest. He points out how happy she was in the dream. It was everything she ever wanted and everything she had until Daniel Romalotti decided to get drunk. Sharon intones, "My life would have been half so different and so much better if Cassie and Daniel hadn't crossed paths that night." Cameron nods. "And what's that tell you?" Sharon says, "That Daniel should have died in that car accident." Cameron nods. Next on the Young and the Restless, Victor catches Audra going rogue. Jack makes a promise to Diane, and Victoria and Lily share a heated exchange.